Let your blessings descend upon us, here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Order, honorable members. Honorable clerk, kindly confirm whether we have quorum to transact today's business.
Honorable Speaker, there is quorum.
Order number one.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I have the following communication to make. That pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 216, which states that the County Executive Committee member responsible for finance shall make a public pronouncement of the budget policy, highlights, and revenue-raising measures for the county government as contemplated under the Public Finance Management Act. The Speaker may designate a suitable place in the chamber for the purposes of admitting the County Executive Committee member to make public pronouncement of the budget policy highlights and revenue-raising measures. The public pronouncement under paragraph 1 shall be heard without question or clarification. On the same date, the budget policy highlights and revenue-raising measures are pronounced. The County Executive Committee member shall submit to the County Assembly a legislative proposal setting out the revenue-raising measures for the county government together with a policy statement expounding on those measures. Further, honorable members, Section 132 of the Public Finance Management Act, which provides that each financial year, the county executive member for finance shall, with approval of the county executive committee, make a pronouncement of the revenue-raising measures for the county government. The county executive committee member for the finance shall, on the same date that the revenue-raising measures are pronounced, submit to the county assembly the county finance bill setting out the revenue-raising measures for the county government together with a policy statement expounding on those measures. Any recommendations made by the relevant committee or adopted by the county assembly on revenue matters shall: A, ensure that the total amount of revenue raised is consistent with the approved fiscal framework and the County Allocation of Revenue Act. B, take into account the principles of equity, certainty, and ease of collection. C, consider the impact of the proposed changes on the composition of tax revenue with references to direct and indirect taxes. D, consider domestic, regional, and international tax trends. E, consider the impact on development, investment, employment, and economic growth. And finally, take into account the taxation and other tariff agreements and obligations that Kenya has ratified, including taxation and tariff agreements under the East Africa Community Treaty. The recommendation of the County Executive Committee member for Finance shall be included in a report and tabled in the County Assembly. Honorable members, pursuant to those provisions, I wish to make it public that the CCM member for Finance and Economic Planning will today, 22nd June 2023, make a public pronouncement for budget highlights and revenue-raising measures for County Government of Nandi for the fiscal year 2023-2024. Honorable members, note that the public pronouncement shall be heard without question or clarification. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Next order.
Order number 8, pronouncement of the budget highlights and revenue-raising measures for the County Government of Nandi financial year 2023-24 by the CCM Finance and Economic Planning.
Honorable members, Standing Order number 25A provides that the Speaker may designate a suitable place in the chamber or at the bar of the House for the County Executive Committee member responsible for finance to make a public pronouncement of the budget policy highlights and revenue-raising measures for the national government as contemplated under the Public Finance Management Act. B, other persons to make submissions or presentations before the House. Honorable members, in exercise of this standing order, I wish to designate the seat on my right for the County Executive Committee member for Finance and Economic Planning to execute his mandate. Is the CCM Finance for the County Government of Nandi present? You are highly welcomed to this County Assembly of Nandi. On my own behalf and also on behalf of the County Assembly of Nandi, you are highly welcomed. Honorable members, having submitted that, I now wish to invite the CCM member for Finance and Economic Planning to execute his mandate. You are highly welcomed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the honorable members of the County Assembly, residents of Nandi County, members of the Fourth Estate, members of the County Executive who are here with us today, distinguished guests, present ladies and gentlemen, I present the budget statement delivered to the County Assembly of Nandi on this 22nd day of June 2023, highlighting the county budget policy and the revenue-raising measures for the fiscal year 2023-2024. Mr. Speaker, it is my pleasure to present to this Honorable House the financial year 2023-24 budget statement. I make this statement in fulfillment of the requirements of Section 131 and 2 of the Public Finance Management Act of 2012 and the Standing Order number 216 of the County Assembly of Nandi. Mr. Speaker, this is the first budget following the conclusion of the general election last year, and allow me to congratulate those who are elected and those who are serving for the first time in this Honorable House. I look forward to working closely with all of you in order to achieve our development goals. Mr. Speaker, before I proceed, allow me to take this early opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to the honorable members of this House for the support they have accorded me, the County Treasury, and the entire County Executive through the preparation of these estimates. This House, Mr. Speaker, approved the 2023 County Fiscal Strategy Paper, which laid the basis for the preparation of the budget estimates for 2023-24. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to thank more particularly the Budget and Appropriation Committee under the chairmanship of Honorable Edwin Korir and other sectorial committees of this Honorable House for the constructive engagements during review of the financial year 2023-24 budget estimates, as well as approval of the various policy documents submitted to this House. Mr. Speaker, there was a very elaborate consultation in preparation of these documents. Mr. Speaker, as a county, we have come a long way since 2017, when His Excellency Honorable Stephen Sang took over office, where there were numerous constraints to the economic growth in the county, such as huge infrastructure gaps in roads, health, and early childhood education. Our health facilities were overstretched, with families struggling with communicable diseases and inadequate modern treatment facilities. Above all, we faced challenges of high unemployment rate among the youths, underperformance in our local revenue, high expectation from the public for development, and inadequate financial resources to finance development programs. Mr. Speaker, faced with these challenges, the Tugatai administration designed and implemented an economic transformation plan within the framework of the second generation Nandi County Integrated Development Plan 2018-2022, the Governor's Manifesto, and the third medium-term plan of 2017-2022, with focus on reducing the cost of doing business, closing the infrastructure gap, and investing in key sectors such as agriculture, health, talent development, and education. Mr. Speaker, the plan we chose in 2017 has worked and delivered results to our people. To mention a few of our achievements under the plan, one, there has been an improved accessibility through grading of 2,382.55 kilometers of road, graveling of 762.51 kilometers of road, and dosing of 598.8 kilometers of road network. In addition, Mr. Speaker, the government constructed 12 culverts, 2 bridge decks, installed 2,500 meters of piped culverts across the county, and constructed footbridges in Dalat, Esero, Sokiot, and Magoi. And Mr. Speaker, as I read the last one, it has a sentimental feeling to me, because then I was seated as the MC as we did the Magoi in Chemelil Chemas. Mr. Speaker, in agriculture being the county mainstay, the construction of Nandi Cooperative Creameries, that is NCC, at Kabiyet, as one of the county's flagship projects, is at completion stage with installation of processing machines ongoing. The construction of 30 milk cooling plants, structures rather, coupled with the subsidized artificial insemination program, is expected again to transform and commercialize the dairy sector for optimum animal productivity and overall poverty reduction. We have improved, Mr. Speaker, agricultural mechanization in the county by acquiring 8 farm tractors with assorted implements, which are accessible to the farmers. The construction of coffee mill, Mr. Speaker, in Tinderet sub-county is ongoing towards completion stage. This will be equipped immediately for guaranteed returns to coffee farmers through the value addition. Mr. Speaker, on increased access to basic education, the government constructed and operationalized 212 ECD classes and 12 vocational training centers projects across the county and recruited 1,450 ECD caregivers and 117 VTC instructors. Mr. Speaker, the government has also disbursed a total of 300 million to 8,841 needy and deserving students and disbursed 84,008,247 shillings to students in all our VTCs as capitation. Mr. Speaker, the government facilitated the conferment of Kapsabet town to a municipality status, and in collaboration with the World Bank, we have constructed 6 kilometers of non-motorized transport facilities, athletic racing track in Kapsabet, and there is ongoing construction of a major roads in Kapsabet town. There is also installation of street lights and 7 high-mast floodlights in major streets and urban areas in the county, and extended the sewer line in Kapsabet by 1.5 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, the government constructed and equipped a data center, established a toll-free call center for all county government services and inquiries at Kapsabet, as well as improved public engagement through the development of the Public Participation and Civic Education Act of 2020. Mr. Speaker, it is notable that our call center made this county to appear in what we call the Maarifa Hub of the Council of Governors, where we showcase what we have done very well as a county. Mr. Speaker, to promote industrial development in the county, the government established a textile and apparel unit in Mosoriot, which is at finishing stage. Mr. Speaker, in order to create a conducive business environment, we have established and operationalized 3 fresh produce markets, 5 Juakali sheds, and open air markets, as well as ablution blocks in the markets. We have also constructed 8 modern market stalls across the county and established bus parks in Kapsabet, Nandi Hills, and an ongoing one in Mosoriot. Mr. Speaker, on promotion and nurturing of talent and sports among the youth, the government constructed and equipped phase 1 of Eliud Kipchoge Modern Athletics Training Camp in Kapsabet, with the second phase of the project being at finishing stage. We invested in critical social sectors of the economy through establishment of Nandi County Youth Service, which has since created employment for over 700 youth, distributed 11 welding machines to youth groups, 85 salon kits and 252 sewing machines to women groups, and 562 assorted assistive devices to people living with disabilities across the county. Mr. Speaker, considerable progress has been made by the government in its quest to ensuring that the citizens have access to safe, clean water. And to this end, Mr. Speaker, 211 water projects were successfully implemented, in addition to the acquisition of 2 drilling rigs to facilitate drilling of boreholes in the county. Mr. Speaker, the development of the county spatial plan to guide land use is at final stage. Mr. Speaker, we equipped our county referral hospital with specialized medical equipment, which include the MRI, the CT scan, and the dental unit. I wish to encourage all of us to make use of these affordable facilities aimed at improving accessibility to healthcare for all. The government, Mr. Speaker, has also ensured quality and accessible healthcare for our people. This has been done by improving health infrastructure through completion and operation of 2 trauma centers in Kabiyet and Nandi Hills, constructing and opening 15 new dispensaries, and renovating 98 health facilities across the county. There is an ongoing construction of a modern hospital complex with mother and baby unit at KCRH, that's Kapsabet County Referral Hospital, and 2 complex hospitals in Kobujoy and Chepterwai. We have also established 15-bed ICU at Kapsabet County Referral Hospitals with an operational oxygen plant and an isolation center. There is an ICU at Nandi Hills Sub-County Hospital, Mr. Speaker, with more ICU units designed in the new mother and child health facility at KCRH and Chepterwai Hospital Complex. We have also acquired 10 fully equipped ambulances to improve referral and emergency responses services. We have enhanced smooth delivery of healthcare services through elevation of 54,000-liter water tank at Kapsabet County Referral Hospital and power upgrade and installation of standby generators at Kapsabet County Referral Hospital, Nandi Hills, Kaptumo, Kabiyet, Serem, Mosoriot, and Chepterwai. There has been increased doctor and nurse to patient ratio through hiring and promoting of over 400 health care workers, including medical officers, clinical officers, nurses, pharmaceutical technologists, and laboratory technologists. There has been an enhanced delivery of specialized healthcare services by establishing and operationalizing renal, oncology, and MRI units at Kapsabet County Referral Hospital and Nandi Hills Sub-County Hospitals. Mr. Speaker, the fiscal year of 2023-24 budget and economic policy context. Mr. Speaker, the financial year 2023-24 budget is being prepared against a background of increased uncertainties in the global economic outlook. This reflects continued geopolitical tensions, particularly the ongoing conflict in Eastern Europe, and the pace of monetary policy lightening amidst concerns about financial sector stability in the advanced economies. As a result, there is global economic growth, which is projected to slow down at 2.8% in 2023 from 3.4% in 2022. Economic prospects are also expected to slow down across regions and countries. Nevertheless, commodity prices in the global markets, particularly of oil and food, have been easing due to improved and functioning supply chains. Mr. Speaker, we are all conversant of the unrest in the world, and this has caused tensions and affected supplies. Particularly, we had hiking of prices of fuel, and all of us are up to date on this. Domestically, here at home, Mr. Speaker, the economic growth for the 2022 slowed down again to 4.8% from 7.6% in 2021 due to adverse impacts of the multiple shocks that affected the economy. Kenya's growth in 2022 was supported by growth in the services sector, while the agricultural sector contracted for the second consecutive year due to the prolonged drought effect. And that also contributed to a slowdown in growth in the manufacturing as well as that of the wholesale and retail trade sectors. Mr. Speaker, the economy is expected to rebound, however, and expand by 5.5% in 2023, up from 4.8% in 2022, and maintain that base over the medium term. This growth will be supported by a broad-based private sector-led growth, including continued strong performance of the services sector and recovery in the agriculture sector due to improved weather conditions during the March and May rainy season. This growth outlook will be reinforced by the interventions being implemented by the government under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which include the provision of subsidized fertilizer and seeds to farmers during the planting season. Further, economic activity is expected to improve and drive aggregate demand, expansion as the international commodity prices ease, coupled with improved exports and resilient private sector consumptions, as well as the ongoing public and private investments. Mr. Speaker, we are aware of what the national government is doing, the bottom-up economic transformation model, which is geared towards farmer support and to enhance productivity. Mr. Speaker, our county does not work in isolation from the global and national effects of the economy. Cognizant of this, we have taken into account recent economic developments on the global and domestic scenes in framing this budget. Considering this is the transitioning year in the county planning framework. Mr. Speaker, since 2017, the government has progressively implemented policies and programs under the transformative agenda to foster the county's socio-economic development. However, the COVID-19 pandemic slowed down the implementation and full realization of the expected benefits. For those of us who are up to date on the first Tugata administration are well aware that in 2019, we were so affected by the tragic occurrence of the COVID-19. The county, Mr. Speaker, continues to grapple with various socio-economic and environmental challenges. And in preparing this year's budget, Mr. Speaker, we extensively consulted the people of Nandi. That was done through the people directly. Their insightful comments and suggestions have informed the priorities laid in this budget. To further accelerate the economic and improve livelihoods, the county government is committed to implementing priority programs under the County Integrated Development Plan, that is the CIDP, for 2023-2027. That are height on a sound macroeconomic framework. Hence, the theme for this year's financial budget is accelerated socioeconomic transformation. The Speaker, we take note that this being the second term of His Excellency Honorable Stephen Sang, he has noted that there will be an accelerated growth. The things that were done in the first term are being moved at a higher speed now that we have had a learning lesson and a place to benchmark and a base to begin from. This aims at, one, completing the ongoing projects. Mr. Speaker, emphasis has been given to completion, equipping, and operationalizing of none of the ongoing capital projects, and in particular, infrastructure projects with high impact on poverty reduction, equity and employment creation. These include the hospital, that is the Kapsabet complex with mother and baby unit at KCRH, the Nandi Cooperative Creameries at Kabiyet, the Nandi Textile and Apparel Unit in Mosoriot, and the Eliud Kipchoge Modern Athletics Training Camp in Kapsabet. Number two, Mr. Speaker, is equipping with requisite equipment the complete yet not operational projects. Mr. Speaker, this relates majorly on health facilities, ECDE centers, water projects, distribution lines, power and water connections, among others. We have a number of infrastructural facilities that have been put in place. They are yet not operational because of one or two things, and this will be the focus of the county government in this particular year. Number three, Mr. Speaker, is settling of pending bills. Despite the progress made in settling of pending bills, we still owe a significant amount to suppliers, and the county government anticipates, therefore, in the year 2023-24 to settle the pending bills accrued and bring them to minimum possible levels. And this we have done very progressively, and we hope by the end of this financial year, this figure will be down significantly. Mr. Speaker, the fiscal policy supporting the financial year 2023-24 budget and the medium term is designed to support economic recovery and reduce fiscal deficit. The policy aims at mobilizing revenue through the ongoing reforms in the revenue administration. You take note, Mr. Speaker, that we have in place a new system for collecting revenues, and we have indeed realized significant improvement on the same, where on real-time basis you can see how much is being collected at every collection point on real-time basis. On the expenditure side, Mr. Speaker, the focus will be directed towards the most critical needs at the backdrop of economic recovery strategy in strategic areas expected to accelerate completion of ongoing critical infrastructural projects in the county with greater ripple effect to the county economy. Our county resource envelope. Mr. Speaker, sir, the total resource envelope for the financial year 2023-24 budget estimate is at 9,079,379,546. This comprises of 7,305,294,585 as equitable share, 515,557,531 as own source revenue. You realize, Honorable Speaker, that we have reviewed that target from 387 to 515 million due to the systems that we have upgraded, which we have hinted onto previously. And we have 458,047,663 as conditional grants from the national government. These include ANIDA, Nutrition International, second, Kenya Informal Settlement Improvement Project, that is KISIP 2. We have library services. Mr. Speaker, library services is a new element that is being cascaded downwards by the national government for the first time beginning this financial year. And we have resources in that line coming down to the county governments. And a further 800,479,767 as expected and spent balances from financial year 2022-2023. Conditional allocations shall be budgeted by the line departments as well and shall be allocated through the County Allocation of Revenue Act. These, again, having been passed by the Parliament, will be cascaded downwards and departments will be spending accordingly. Mr. Speaker, expenditure is broadly classified into development and recurrent by practice. Recurrent expenditure is further classified into compensation to employees and operations and maintenance. So under the recurrent expenditures, Mr. Speaker, cumulative recurrent expenditure for the financial year 2023-24 is estimated at 6,102,629,532. This translates to 67.21% of the cumulative budget. This is composed of the personnel emoluments amounting to 3,874,243,848, which translates to 43% of the total budget estimates, and an operations and maintenance amount of Kenya shillings 2,228,385,684, which translates to 24.2% of the total budget. It is worth noting, Mr. Speaker, that the recurrent expenditure includes 796,999,461 allocated to the County Assembly as per the budget ceiling issued by the Commission for Revenue Allocation. Mr. Speaker, this has been revised upwards, and the county assemblies, our county assembly specifically, will get an increment from the previous amount to the 796 million. Mr. Speaker, the development expenditure as per the budget estimates amounts to 2,976,750,014 shillings of the total revenue. Mr. Speaker, amongst the departments with high development allocations include trade, and Mr. Speaker, this is because of the industrial park that has an allocation of 250 for the county government, which is a counterpart to be met to meet what the national government is giving at 250 million. That is trade, tourism, industrialization, and enterprise development. We have lands, and majorly again, lands is because of the support from the donor world, the development partners, lands, environment, natural resources, and climate change, transport and infrastructure, health and sanitation, education, agriculture and cooperative development. And we have a number of facilitation in terms of conditional grants coming to the agriculture sector. The County Assembly has been allocated 100 million to facilitate the completion rather of the County Assembly complex. Mr. Speaker, the key message in my statement is that we have accomplished a lot in the past 5 years and have laid down a solid foundation and built the infrastructure to support more businesses to flourish and to achieve accelerated shared economic growth. In this respect, this budget will continue to implement our transformation agenda to enhance accessibility to our roads, boost agricultural productivity, and invest in other infrastructure that will generate new growth opportunities. Mr. Speaker, we take note that a number of flagship projects have been done during the first term of His Excellency, Honorable Stephen Sang, and that now we are doing the completion, equipping, and so forth, and operationalizing. And therefore, there should be a marked service delivery and enhanced development in that line. We will also continue to prioritize social spending in support of quality and accessible health care, basic education and vocational training, and empowerment of special groups. This budget will also continue to cushion our workforce through provision of a medical cover. Given the critical role of infrastructure in improving our county's competitiveness, we will need to invest substantially in key infrastructural facilities. Mr. Speaker, this will be done through, one, improving access to healthcare services. Despite the achievements we have made in the health sector, we recognize that more needs to be done to further advance the quality of these services in order to improve the health and productivity of our people. Whereas we notice that we have equipped with the equipment that we have mentioned earlier on, the MRI, the CT scan, Mr. Speaker, there is still need some effort to be done around this. In this regard, Mr. Speaker, we have allocated in this budget 80,044,625 for completing, equipping, and operationalizing ongoing works in various health facilities across the county, and 36 million for the purchase of assorted medical equipment to new facilities across the county. We have a number of facilities, dispensaries and health facilities which were opened towards the end of the term of Honorable Stephen Sang, His Excellency, and these will be equipped, and we have provided 36 million as mentioned. Further, expand the access to healthcare, Mr. Speaker. We have set aside 96 million for completion of ongoing MCH facility at Kapsabet County Referral Hospital. Mr. Speaker, that facility is almost at the tail end, but we expect the works to be completed in the next couple of months, and therefore we have made that provision of 96 million. A further 11,538,220 for the completion of Chapter Y Hospital Complex, and 7 million for the completion of Moko Beach Hospital. We have further allocated 16 million for the renovation works at Mosoriot Hospital, and a further 7 million for the acquisition of an oxygen compressor at Kapsabet County and Referral Hospital. We have, Mr. Speaker, allocated a further 14 million for offsetting of pending bills in the health sector, and another 15 million for the construction of a funeral home at Kapsabet County Referral Hospital. Mr. Speaker, it's a funeral home. Mr. Speaker, we will also do this in cushion. We will need to cushion and modernize agriculture. In the importance of agriculture in contributing to the growth of the economy and generation of jobs and income cannot be overstated, Mr. Speaker. The government also recognizes that without a strong, vibrant agricultural sector, a critical component of our industrialization strategy, namely agro-processing, will not be achieved. To continue investing in this sector, we have in this budget proposed a total of 10 million for the Nandi County Veterinary and Agriculture Revolving Fund to support farmer groups through subsidized AI program. A further 4.5 million for the purchase of pesticides, agrochemicals, and another 9 million for the purchase of acaricides, 15 million for the purchase of vaccines, and 15 million for renovations of cattle dips. 150 million, Mr. Speaker, has been allocated as conditional grants for NARIC program, 516,946 for the ASDSP program, and 250 million for the National Agricultural Value Chain Development Program, NAV-CDP. This, Mr. Speaker, is a new program that eventually will be replacing the NARIC program. The NAV-CDP, the National Value Chain Development Project, which has an allocation of 250 million. There's a further 14.2 million as counterpart funds for the two programs. Mr. Speaker, we have allocated 45 million for completion of ongoing works and 20 million for operationalizing of the Nandi cooperative creameries in Kabiyet. We have allocated at 1 million for revamping of Kaimosi ATC. And in these estimates, again, Mr. Speaker, we have allocated 23 million for offsetting of pending bills in this agriculture department, rather agriculture sector. Under roads and infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, to further enhance movement and ease of transportation of goods in the county, we have allocated 107,102,672 for completion of ongoing roadworks projects across the county, 40 million for acquisition of roadwork machinery. That is one grader, Mr. Speaker. It's important to take note that we intend to purchase one more grader. 45,099,261 for hire and leasing of equipment for routine maintenance of improvement of the existing earth roads. 25 million, Mr. Speaker, for acquisition of Maram and Maram sites, and a further 40 million to fuel county-owned machinery for roadworks to complete the hired ones. That is to complement the hired ones. Mr. Speaker, a further 30 million for construction of bridges and culverts, and a further 6 million for emergency bridges and culverts across the county. 2 million, Mr. Speaker, has been set aside for survey works and demarcation of roads across the county, and 72,088,088 shillings for offsetting of pending bills under roads and infrastructure. We have a further 50 million to Kenya Informal Settlement Improvement Project 2. These projects targeting infrastructural development in Mosoriot Center. Mr. Speaker, as Kapsabet municipality grows and moves forward, there is a need to prepare further municipalities to come in place. Mosoriot and Nandi Hills are in the pipeline, and that is why we have provided the 50 million for under the KISI program to prepare infrastructure at Mosoriot Center. Mr. Speaker, under basic improving access and quality of basic and technical education, we have invested we have provided for 124,506,770 for completion of ongoing ECDE across ECDE centers across the county, and a further 24,606,555 for offsetting of pending bills in the Department of Education and Vocational Training. 120 million has been provided for bursary fund. Mr. Speaker, it is important to take note that previously we have had 60 million being allocated to bursary. This time, this figure has gone up to 120 million. Mr. Speaker, we have also allocated 70 million for construction of 30 new ECDE centers across the county, and 6.5 million for completion of facilities which were earlier done and they are not yet complete. We have 14,796,190 for renovation and rehabilitation of historical ECDE classrooms, and 5 million for provision of teaching and learning materials. Mr. Speaker, in order to promote skill development among the youths, we have allocated 25 million for the county VTCs, and to support further, we have allocated 7.5 million for upgrading of Sirwa Yala, Kaptel, Meteitei, and Meteitei VTCs. We have 5 million for construction of ablution blocks in Sigilai, Potopoto, Kapsiria, Mutumon, and St. Augustine Kipsebwo VTCs. Mr. Speaker, under sports, youth, and vulnerable groups, the government is keen in nurturing talent and skill among the youth, and it is for this reason that we propose 14,851,600 for completion of departmental ongoing works across the county, and a further 4 million for purchase of sports equipment, 20 million for fully equipping of the ultra-modern fitness center, that is cafeteria and physiotherapy at Eliud Kipchoge Modern Athletics Training Camp. Mr. Speaker, the Eliud Kipchoge Modern Training Camp, located just next to the showground, is almost at the completion stage, and we are providing 20 million for putting up those facilities, the ultra-modern fitness center, the cafeteria, physiotherapy, and so forth. That will ensure that we have even members here, Mr. Speaker, who can make use of that facility under recreation. We have further provided 4 million for purchase of tools of trade for the youth. In addition, Mr. Speaker, we intend to continue providing at least 30% of government tenders to the youth, women, and people living with disabilities. This is an affirmative requirement, Mr. Speaker, by the policy that at least 30% of the works tendered by government are reserved for these vulnerable groups. For promoting tourism, culture, and social welfare, Mr. Speaker, the economic effects of tourism extend well beyond the core sectors. To ensure competitiveness and attraction of both domestic and international visitors, the government, in partnership with key stakeholders, will continue to promote and develop tourism, conserve county heritage, and promote a vibrant arts culture. Mr. Speaker, we are entering into partnership with a number of partners, development partners, and the tourist attraction centers will be made of good use going forward. The places like the Bonjoge area of the forest in Bonjoge, the Kamatargui area here in Kapsabet, the Jepkit waterfalls, among others, the Nandi Rock. These will be in partnership with the development partners. The departments have already initiated the communications and the talks, conversations along those lines, and they will be made into good use. For proposed fencing, we have 3,772,000 for fencing of Kamatargui Conservancy Swamp, and a further 4 million for completion and operationalizing Jane Marie Serone Social Hall. There's a further 5 million for development of Nandi Culture and Arts Center at Kamatargui. There's a further 3 million for operationalizing of Kapsisiwa Safe House, and 5 million for operationalizing of Chemundu PWD's Empowerment Center. Mr. Speaker, we have also allocated 10 million for development of animal orphanage and revamping of Bonjoge Animal Reserve, and a further 2 million for development of Nandi Tourist Circuit. Mr. Speaker, we have allocated a further 2 million for development of a PWD database in the county. A database that will provide real-time information on how many people do we have in our county who are PWDs for purposes of support by development planning at the county government level and also by development partners. We have a further 5,047,663 shillings as conditional allocation from the national government for construction of a library at Kapsabet. As earlier hinted, Mr. Speaker, we have, for the first time, library services being devolved from the national government coming down to the counties. And we have money to that effect to ensure that we also do our part. 800 million is coming as conditional grant from the national government through the county allocation of revenue. But locally here we are setting aside 5 million to complement the same by doing the library. Mr. Speaker, under public service, to promote management of the decentralized units, which include the urban planning and development of urban infrastructure, we have proposed allocations as follows. Mr. Speaker, we are cognizant of the benefits of a healthy workforce, and we have proposed an allocation of 120 million towards a medical insurance cover for our employees. We have also allocated 100 million for the completion of the county assembly offices, and 97 million as a car grant for the county assembly, and for a further 150 million for the county executive car and mortgage facility. We have provided, Mr. Speaker, these are benefits which are mandatory, and they are provided by law, the policy of the government, through the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Circulars were sent to the same effect, and we have no option. We have to provide for the 97 million car grant for the MCS, the county assembly, and a further provision for the county executives for car and mortgage facility. Mr. Speaker, we have provided 65 million for completion of the governor's office, and another 20 million for acquisition of land for construction of governor's official residence. It is a requirement, again, by law that the governor and the speaker be housed by the county government. We are aware that the county assembly moved earlier on and acquired a premise for the speaker. We have provided for this facilitation for purposes of acquiring land, which will be in perpetuity, really, for the government. 23 million have been provided for completion of Kapsabet Modern Market, 8 million for excavation of a dump site and fencing at Kaimosi, 25 million for acquisition of self-loading truck, and additional 4,001,800 for acquisition of waste receptacles. Mr. Speaker, the machinery that we use to collect waste within our towns, you must have realized, Mr. Speaker, they are loaded by labor, by people. So we are proposing, and we have provided facilitation for acquiring machines which will do the loading on its own. We have further provided 13 million for acquisition and installation of the LED screen in Kapsabet. Mr. Speaker, when you walk around towns in surrounding us here in Nandi, there are screens where people will ordinarily view, even get updates on what's happening across the county. So we are provided for a LED screen that will be placed here in Kapsabet town to serve our people, and also for advertising that can bring money to the revenue department. Mr. Speaker, we have further provided 4 million for extension of the sewer line within Kapsabet municipality, and 8 million for Nandi Hills and Mosuriot. As hinted, as we move these towns into municipalities, there is a specific need to develop infrastructure around that area, and so we have provided for this facility. A further 10 million for construction of parking bays and installation of high masts within the municipality of Kapsabet. Our parkings extend right towards the court and down towards Jebut and beyond, and we have no demarcations, and we are provided for the same in this budget. We have a further 7.5 million for construction of ablution blocks in Kurugung, Serem, Barbar Market, and Baraton centers. A further 4 million for construction of an ICT center in Kobujoy, and another 4 million for upgrade of the county call center. Mr. Speaker, I earlier hinted that our call center placed us as a leading county, the first of its own to initiate the call facilitation, the call center, and made us to appear in the Council of Governors hub which is the Maarifa Center, the Maarifa Hub. Under environment, water and natural resources, Mr. Speaker, access to clean and safe water and affordable water, for that matter, is vital for eliminating the burden of disease. In order to ensure sustainable access to continuous clean piped water, rehabilitation and reclamation, conservancy and protection of water catchment areas, and development of community water projects in the county, we have set aside 90 million for the construction of water projects across the county, and a further 118,061,811 for completion of ongoing works in the sector, and a further 94,938,047 have been provided to cater for the pending bills under the same department. 15 million have been set aside for establishment of Nandi Rural Water and Sanitation Company. Mr. Speaker, the projects that have been undertaken by the government currently and in the past need to have what we call a continued a takeover mechanism. Once the projects have been delivered, there's need for sustainability. Those projects can only be sustained if we have people responsible for the same. And so the Rural Water Company is the organ that we have provided for here to come and ensure that there is a The Rural Water Company will ensure sustainability and continuity of those water projects. We have provided 15 million to that effect. There is a further 30 million for finalization of the county special plan for development control. And a further 4 million has been set aside towards fuel for the drilling rigs. Mr. Speaker, we have areas within Nandi where you can only supply water by drilling. We have the drilling machines, and so we are providing money for purchase of the rigs. We have a further 3 million towards land records digitization. Mr. Speaker, among the 5 key areas of focus by the national government under the transformative agenda is the digital superhighway. And land registry here in Nandi will be digitized going forward, and we have provided money to that effect. We have provided 10 million as a subsidy to Kenawasco. That is Kapsabet Nandi Water and Sanitation Company. Mr. Speaker, climate change remains a key concern globally, given its adverse impact on economies, and Nandi is no exception. It is in this regard that we have allocated 20 million as a counterpart funding for the FLOCA program, and a further 8.5 million for programs that will assist the county build resilience against climate. Mr. Speaker, we have a conditional allocation by the by the CRA, known as FLOCA, financing locally led climate actions. As these funds come, we have also set aside our additional funds here, which is our counterpart funding for the same. Mr. Speaker, under creating a conducive business environment, trade and investments are key drivers of economic growth, given their potential for wealth and employment creation as well as poverty reduction. As such, Mr. Speaker, this budget has allocated 500 million for the establishment of County Aggregated Industrial Park. This is the famous industrial park. We are privileged, Mr. Speaker, to be among us the leading counties who will be in the first phase of the implementation of the industrial parks. And we have set aside that 500 million, ours being 250, and allocation from the national government of an equivalent amount. Mr. Speaker, further that 1,960,555 for completion and operationalizing of various projects, which include Juakali sheds, fresh produce markets, and modern market stall initiated by the department across the county. In addition, Mr. Speaker, we have set aside 44 million for completion and operationalizing of the textile and apparel unit in Mosoriot. In addition, Mr. Speaker, we have allocated 30,800,000 towards the completion of ongoing works and a further 23,175,172 for payment of pending bills in the Department of Trade. Mr. Speaker, the county will remain a strong revenue will maintain a strong revenue effort over the medium term to enhance revenue collection. To achieve this, Mr. Speaker, several measures have been proposed in the Finance Bill of 2023, which I will be submitting together with the estimates for the fiscal year 2023-24 for review and approval by the Honorable House. Some of the proposed, Mr. Speaker, include updating of the valuation rules for rating purposes, digitization of revenue, strict compliance measures and enforcement, adoption of revenue enhancement best practices, improvement of parking sites and expansion of revenue bases, maintenance of the revenue collection and management. Mr. Speaker, Nandi, just like any other many county governments, are yet to have or rather using obsolete evaluation rules, or we rather don't have one. We have therefore provided for the same so that we have a valuation rule that will guide us here locally. We have digitized revenue collection, and that is happening currently. Parking sites, which we mentioned, again, are being marked, and we have provided funds for the same. Mr. Speaker, the revenue collection under CES is expected to improve due to agreement with the tea and sugar companies across the county, where that CES component will go back to finance the road networks within the origin of those products. Mr. Speaker, the approval of the County Government's Additional Allocations Act of 2023 provides a further 55,110,900 shillings and 60 cents as mineral royalties. We are privileged, Mr. Speaker, to have a mining company located in Chemase, and by principle of law, we are entitled to 20% in form of royalties. And in determining this, the CRA has arrived at the 55,110,900 shillings and 60 cents, which again has been allocated through conditional allocation. We take note, Mr. Speaker, that the 10% for the community is yet to be rolled down as the policy is yet being developed. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I have presented to you the budget that has been carefully prepared to balance the difficult choices we have had to make in order to move this county forward. I believe we have made the right decisions that will propel this county to prosperity and make us great. Mr. Speaker, despite our limited resources, we have considered optimal allocation of resources to appropriate programs, especially in the areas of health, water, social protection, education, food security, and infrastructure. The budget is also inclusive and promotes shared prosperity in light of resources allocated to social protection. Mr. Speaker, we have attempted to strike a balance in the resources available. It has been a difficult endeavor, and they will never be sufficient, Mr. Speaker. We have a number of needs which will not be met, a number of priorities which will not be met, but these will be moved forward to the next financial year. And we pray and ask that even this House, as it considers the budget, takes note of the fact that these resources are never sufficient. Mr. Speaker, the initiatives conducted by the county government so far have borne fruit, and thus our focus is on completing and operationalizing key development priorities as identified in the CIDP 2018-2022, as we usher in the third generation Nandi CIDP 2023-2027 with varied strategic objectives. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, again, I wish to pass my sincere gratitude to all the residents of Nandi from all walks of life, without forgetting the various development partners for their support and contribution in the budget preparation and implementation. I sincerely ask for the continued understanding and cooperation of all stakeholders as we collectively strengthen our economy and deliver prosperity to our beloved county. Mr. Speaker, we rally upon all of us to recognize the fact that resources are never sufficient. That is why we prioritize. We call upon the people of Nandi, this House, to continuously work with us the journey of implementing this budget, while carefully looking at what the government is undertaking, and work with us and realize that what we have budgeted for is due to insufficient resources. However, what has been put in paper as we execute the same should be able to serve the people of Nandi and should be able to be of good use to all of us. Mr. Speaker, I therefore submit to this House the budget estimates for consideration of the above proposal. The earliest possible approval of the budget is necessary in order to achieve economic revitalization and fiscal consolidation. I hereby request that this House deliberate on the budget and promptly give its approval. God bless Nandi. God bless the people of Kenya. I beg to table.
Honorable members, I wish to acknowledge the receipt of the Nandi County Program-Based Budget Estimates for the financial year 2023-2024. Further, honorable members, I want to guide the House pursuant to Standing Order number 216.5, which states that the recommendation of the member of the County Executive Committee responsible for finance shall be included in a report and tabled in the County Assembly. Further to that, honorable members, I also wish to recognize the following dignitaries, members of the public, teachers, and pupils seated in the Speaker's Gallery. We have Scholastica Tuwei, the CCM member for Education and Vocational Training. I also wish to recognize the presence of Ruth Koech, the CCM Health and Sanitation. Rose Angira, CCM Tourism, Culture, Gender, and Social Welfare. We also have Engineer Dris Rono, the CCM member for Transport and Infrastructure. We have Isaiah Keter, CCM Administration and Public Service. We also have Mr. Benjamin Kiprotich, the Chief Officer, Trade, Investment, and Industrialization. Kipchumba Cheriot, Chief Officer, Education and Vocational Training. We also have Dr. Paul Sanga, the Chief Officer, Agriculture. We also have Beatrice Chemurgor, Chief Officer, Tourism, Gender, and Social Welfare. I also wish to recognize the presence of Priska Mwigei, Chief Officer, Finance and Economic Planning. We also have Director, Finance, Helen Kemboi. I also not wish to forget the members of the media, commonly known as the Fourth Estate, that are present in the House. We have teachers and pupils from St. Joseph's Kiptarei Primary School. I know they are led by their teacher, Mr. Edwin Bungei. And finally, the members of the public who are present, you highly welcomed to this County Assembly of Nandi, the house that represents, oversights, and also legislates on behalf of the electorates of Nandi. As our tradition for the pupils from St. Joseph's Kiptarei Primary School, I now want to invite Honorable Benjamin Matata, that is the member of County Assembly from Kapsabet Ward, to welcome the pupils on behalf of the County Assembly. And thereafter, one member from Education, and also the Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to take this opportunity first to welcome the pupils from St. Joseph's Kiptarei Primary School, which is in my ward, Mr. Speaker, sir, and on extension, the school is just 500 meters from my place. I want to say the teachers, the pupils, I want to welcome you on behalf of the people of Kapsabet Ward to this County Assembly. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to thank you with the Honorable Clerk for allowing our pupils to come in. They have come in a time that the budget pronouncements are being made. I want to thank the teachers for arranging this visit by the pupils. I know that time is not on our side, but with the minimal time that we have had together, you've learned something. I know when you go back to school, at least you have seen how the County Assembly operates, and I had personally met you outside there, and I promised to visit you in your school. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to encourage the pupils that first of all, be prayerful in whatever you do. Be prayerful always. In the morning when you wake up, pray. When you reach your school, before you start the business of the day, make sure you pray. 2, be disciplined all the time. Make sure that you respect each and every person. Respect your colleagues, respect your teachers, respect your parents, and any other person, whether big or small, make sure that you respect. Secondly, make sure you have your targets. Set your targets properly. Work hard, remain determined, and I can assure you, even these honorable members that you see here, they are here courtesy of hard work and the prayer that they have been praying to God. So I want to encourage you, as the peoples of my ward, we want to see you in future. From you, we have doctors. From you, we have teachers. From you, we have pilots. From you, we have engineers. I want to encourage you. Make sure that you work hard. I've always said that it is better be an average student, but your discipline should be above board all the times. I want to encourage the teachers. Make sure that you support our children. Through them, God will bless you. So never tire to help them. We shall work. I've always promised you that we shall work together in each of the aspects to make sure that we deliver good results. Mr. Speaker, sir, with those few remarks, I want to wish them well, and I want to say thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mosbey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity that you've given me in order to welcome your visitors. That is the pupils and teachers of Kiptarei Primary School. So on behalf of the Education Committee, where I sit, I want to really say that this group, unlike the others, are very lucky. Because today they've come in when the budget was being read, something that even the first timers like me have never witnessed. So I want to say that these pupils and teachers are indeed very privileged, they are very lucky. And as a fellow teacher, I feel so sentimental when I see teachers, particularly led by the very able Mr. Bungei. I know Mr. Bungei in person as a colleague that I was with. He was in a school where my children were at one point, and I know he's very capable. Mr. Matata should be a very lucky person to have had a team of teachers like these ones who are going to inspire the pupils to achieve the great heights. So on behalf of the Committee of Education, I want to say that in the near future, with the invitation of our very able Honorable Matata, we should be able to visit this school because it is not very far from here and give them even more encouragement. Otherwise, thank you, Mr. Speaker. We hope to see more and more of our students coming and our pupils joining us in this assembly so that they can be encouraged. I just want to finish up by telling my fellow teachers that it is indeed possible. I was a classroom teacher. Today, I'm here in this great house of Nandi County Assembly as an MCA of Kaptumo Kaboi Ward. Thank you, and you are most welcome again. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Before the Honorable Majority Leader, I also wish to give an opportunity to Honorable Salma Faraj to welcome the students from Kiptare Primary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'd also like to take this opportunity to welcome the students from St. Joseph's Kiptare. I'm so glad to see you here. I'm sure you've learned a lot, and thanks to our area MCA, you've really encouraged them. I hope they've heard everything. Just be prayerful, and you have maximum respect. Everything will fall into place. Otherwise, feel welcomed. We love you. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to thank you for giving me an opportunity to recognize the presence of St. Joseph Kiptare Primary School in Kapsabet Ward. I'm happy, Honorable Speaker, that Matata actually timed well so that the school can come when the budget estimate is being pronounced, Honorable Speaker, which is an historic, the way Honorable Speaker said. Honorable Speaker, you know, when I came first time when the budget was being read, I was only conversing with some members and asking what's happening, Honorable Speaker, and I found this assembly is a great one because people are concerned of what is happening, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, I wanted to thank the school plus the teachers, Honorable Speaker, for finding time to be in this great county assembly of Nandi, Honorable Speaker, so that they can learn the process of an assembly in discharging the mandate, Honorable Speaker, which has been given by us by the Constitution, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I remember yesterday we were with a team of school from the Rike High School, Honorable Speaker, and today we have Kiptare, a school that is from within, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the area MCA, Honorable Matata, who is the chairman, for administration, Honorable Speaker, because I know this, I find that this is a school in its heart, because it's a neighboring school. So, Honorable Speaker, I support what the Honorable Speaker said, that sooner we will visit the school so that we can support and ensure that we give the necessary support, Honorable Speaker. I know some of our candidates, they will be doing exam. We want to wish them well, Honorable Speaker, as they prepare for the exam, which is actually 4 months before they do that exam, Honorable Speaker. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity, and I want to tell them they are most welcome anytime to this great assembly. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you. You know, these are your guests, Honorable Speaker, and every time the guests from the schools, wherever in the great county of Nandi, Honorable Speaker, comes, you invite them, every time. So we want to thank you and the office of the clerk for ensuring that we have this case so that they can see what we are doing as an assembly. Otherwise, thank you so much. God bless the school, God bless the assembly, and God bless the CC Finance and the team. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, honorable members. I also extend my hand of wishing our students from St. Joseph's Kiptarei the very best in their learning tour to this County Assembly of Nandi. Next order.
Order number 9, adjournment.
Honorable members, there being no any other prayer on our today's business, the House stands adjourned till 27th, 2:30 p.m.